Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Patty. I go by Patty Mac Makes everywhere online. And today's video is, I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is a most requested. You guys keep asking me. And I have, I guess I have put this video off long enough. So today we are going to do a tour of my sewing room. So I know what you're asking. You're asking, Patty, what's the big deal? Why do you not want to show your sewing room in its entirety? The main reason is that it's incredibly small, it's hard to film, and it's dark in here. So it doesn't make for like, we used to call it must-see TV, so it's not like it's like must-see YouTube viewing. I've told you before, I am a regular person. I'm just like you. I just happen to do a YouTube channel. It can be super intimidating to put yourself out there as a small creator, as a regular person, when you're on the same platform as people who have just, you know, giant spaces, walls of windows, beautiful, perfect light, all of the above. I don't have any of that. Okay, I have a small room. I call it my multi-purpose room because I do my sewing in here. I do my needlework. Right here is my computer and chair. So this is where I do all of my online work, my video edits, photo edits, the whole thing. Behind me here is my closet. We'll look in there. I'll show it to you the best I can. I don't know how much light I can get in there. It's a small closet, but it is where I keep a lot of my supplies. The way I make this room really work for me is that I make the best of what I have. So I really believe in using what I purchase. It's so easy to go into the store and be completely overwhelmed and have that shiny object syndrome and just want to get everything. Believe me, I know all about this. I enjoy shopping, but I have learned to restrict myself, and especially going through 2020 because it's been 6 months of mostly being at home, and so I have really learned to use what I have, and so that's been a good lesson for this crazy year that we're in. And I think I'll carry that forward. So, all right, let's just kind of talk about this room. I'm sure that this room looks pretty big. And, you know, I'm not going to minimize my blessing that I have this room, because this is the second bedroom that is the bigger bedroom. I used to have my actual bedroom in here, and then January of 2019, I switched the rooms and I put my bedroom into the smallest room, and then I started using this room as my multi-purpose room. And that's when I built out my sewing area, which is here. I know a lot of you have probably found me based on how I set up my sewing space. So we'll just take a sort of a quick look at that. Because if you want to see that in detail, I can link to that video, and I'll do that up here. Okay, so the room, you know, it's not that big. In fact, I just bumped into my own sewing table backing up. But, you know, it looks big. It's not that big. It measures about 10 across, and it's probably 12 front to back. So it's a good sized room, but I'm doing a lot of things in here. If it was just dedicated sewing, it would be a really big room. Because I do everything in here, it does force me to keep the sewing sort of under control. Now I will tell you, when I'm in the middle of sewing projects, it looks like a disaster in here. Today it's clean, which is another reason why I decided to go ahead and film this video for you today. So, okay. One of the questions that I get asked frequently is, where do I press my stuff out? And like over here, this is the sewing space, and then right behind me I will set up the ironing board, and that's where I press my things out. Right now I have my small ironing board. I'm doing it like a small project. So rather than drag out the large board, I just have that small board, and I'll show you that. So sometimes I just use that. The project that I'm working on currently, it's in its small stages. It's getting ready to go to a larger stage, and so I will go ahead and get out the full-sized ironing board to complete that project, and I will be filming that for the channel, so be looking for that. Okay, without any further ado, I'm going to just kind of turn the camera around. I'm going to let you see the room. I want you to know that I'm like right in the window. I have one small window, and the way the room is designed, it's one small window in a corner. So it makes it very hard to get light in here. And I will also add, it's fine for sewing. Okay, I do really well with all of my sewing in here, and anything that you see me make or talk about or share, it is made in this room. I have an OT light that I love. It's on my my sewing table, and I use that even in the daytime because it's dark. So for sewing, it's fine. It works wonderfully, in fact. For filming, I'm having some issues. So I will just give you like a heads up. I'm probably going to start, in fact, not probably, I am going to start filming the project tutorials and all of that out in the living room because I need a little more space than I can have in here, and the lighting is so much better, and I want the videos to look better for you. So that will be coming. But anyway, without any further ado, I'm going to get off of the camera here, and we're going to take a look. So stick around for that. The first thing I'll show you about this room is just kind of we'll just like scan the room. So here's my sewing table, and I have shown you that in previous videos. It'll be linked below, as well as in the card I showed you earlier. So yeah, it's there's my pegboard, which I love the pegboard, and you can see my craft card is there, and I'm just gonna swing around, and you can see I've got that beautiful mahogany chest, and that is an antique my mom bought back in the 50s, and I use it in here to store some of my sewing supplies. And the thing in the middle, that's the lighting equipment I have. And over in this far corner, you can see I have, let me see if I can lighten that up for you a little bit. Over in that far corner, I have a little bookshelf, and that has some of my projects and some other things on it. You can see I've got one of those little multi-purpose carts, and I do store fabric and some things in there. I have some of my items displayed. I have that really pretty shelf with some of my makes on it. I think it's important that you enjoy the projects that you make and show them off. And then I'm going to come down, and you can see that I have a piece of furniture. There's my printer. Those are all my files, and I keep some of my camera equipment in there. And you can see if you look down on the floor, I have a little, like a mini ironing board, and I use that pretty frequently. So I've been working on those small 4-patch projects, 4-patch quilt blocks, and they are fine to be pressed out on the smaller board. So that's what I'm using. And as I move into the larger project that those are going to go into, I will then get the bigger board out, and I'll show you where that's stored. And then we'll just come around, and there's my office chair. And I also use that chair for my sewing table. So it's the chair, just it's right here, and then it goes right here. It's a very small space. And then back in the corner, you can see I have my my comfy chair. And when I was knitting more, I used to use that as my knitting chair, and I would sit in the chair and knit and watch Netflix, but I don't really knit that much anymore, and I do not watch Netflix. I canceled my Netflix back in June for a multitude of reasons, but anyway, it's canceled. So yeah, here's this room, and let me set up and I'll show you what it looks like from the other side. This is what we call the reverse angle. And there you can see the furniture again, and there's the chair that I used to use for knitting, and I don't knit very much now. I still like knitting, but I have so much, I have so many projects that I just kind of don't need to keep knitting. Anyway, and you guys seem to enjoy the sewing videos more, so I'm kind of doubling down on the sewing at this point. There's my desk. You can see it's very small. It's actually a child's desk, but you know what? It works okay. So I am grateful to have it. There's my computer, and that's the only window in this room, and you can see it's fairly small. I took that plant stand and spray painted it, and I use it in here now as a bookshelf, and I really, really like it. But there's my window, and the little pieces, the hanging planters in the corner. I actually have videos on how I put those together and also how I secured them into the ceiling. So I'll link to those videos also. I wound up finding those in Joann. Oh my goodness, how long? Over a year ago. I have really enjoyed them, and they are perfect for displaying air plants. Although I'm gonna give you an inside scoop. I got rid of all my air plants. The whole lockdown winter thing, I just couldn't keep up with them anymore. I wound up getting rid of them, and I replaced them all with fakes. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm loving the fakes. Okay, so make your life easier in terms of plants if you can. Okay, let's look at the sewing table. The last time that I checked in with you on the sewing table, I had a ton of stuff stored underneath, and I recently did a pretty big cleanup in here, clean and reorganize, and I got everything out from underneath except for my backup sewing machine, which is now the Singer Brilliance, because I have invested in that beautiful Singer patchwork that you see there at the back of the table. So typically when I have my room for everyday use, this is how it looks. So I leave the cutting mats on the table. You do want to leave your cutting mats on a flat surface. You don't want to put them up against a wall or something like that. It's very important that they be kept flat, because if you don't, they will warp. And they are kind of an investment, so you want to make sure that they are kept in the best possible way. So I have 2 of them. I have them hinged with painter's tape, so they will open up into a nice large cutting surface. And when I need to use the large surface, I still go out and use my dining room for that. But for my everyday setup, this is what it looks like. And so the machine is kind of off to the back. The light is there. I have my, let me scan up so you can see. I have my pegboard all set up, and you can see that since I filmed that last video, I have gone ahead and hung some of my hoop projects that I've done. I absolutely love hand stitching, and I have also started doing some cross stitch. So yeah, those will also be displayed. Let me scan over here. You can see my crafting cart. I got that. It's an origami cart, and I love it. I have been using it now for 2 years. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks as good now as it did when I got it. Let me move and you can see it better. Here's the craft cart, and this is how I use it in this room. It displays projects on top, and then I've got baskets with supplies on that next little shelf. The purple thing that you see there on the right, that's full of embroidery supplies, and I'm getting ready to completely reorganize that. So that will be an upcoming video. The current method is out of control. So I'm just going to scan down so you can kind of see what's going on. You can see that those are metal shelves, and so my little magnetic needle minders all stick and hold on beautifully. So if you have collections of needle minders, they will go on there and look adorable. You could also put like enameled pins. They would you could easily hook them on through the little mesh, and they would be super cute. So that's going to be coming. Basically what I have in here is I just kind of have different fabrics in there. So I don't have like a great fabric organization method, but I can find stuff when I need it, and that's all that really matters to me. And as I mentioned, I pulled everything out recently. Everything came out of the drawers and got reorganized, and now I kind of know what I have. You know, you look at it, you handle it, and then you put it away, and it's hard to remember it all. But I did really do a big straighten up on that. Let me tell you that recently on HSN, which is where I got this, they have an update to this cart, and it now has 3 shelves. So it's a little bit taller, and it will have 1 extra shelf of a horizontal space, which I really like, and it's big enough to hold a Cricut. So I kind of want it, and maybe for Christmas I can get that, and it will fit a Cricut machine onto one of those shelves. So I would absolutely love to be getting into Cricut crafts. So when that time comes, I think having another one of these crafting carts as opposed to the piece of furniture that I'm using would make things a lot more organized and allow me to organize more things in my space. This is the part of the tour that I'm kind of not sure how it's going to go, but I'm going to do my best for you. So I've opened the closet door, and you can see that I have put a couple of those command strip style hook things on the inside of the door, and those are fantastic for storing your quilting rollers. And you can see that I have 2. Currently I only have 2. So I have that 6 by 24 inch long ruler, and then I just got that recent one that's the triangle grid, and I love that thing. So I definitely have some quilting rulers on my list of must-haves, and when I get them, they'll all be stored on that hook in particular, because it will take more. And then the one next to it, I have 2 embroidery hoops, and I use embroidery hoops, or these particular plastic embroidery hoops, when I'm actually stitching the project, because you can pull your fabric a lot tighter. And you know, when the fabric is really super firm, it makes for better stitching. And then as I come up, I have a just like a little board. It's kind of a memory board at this point. I just have some things on there that I find humorous, and I have pictures of my sweet dog, and so every time I open the door, he's right there, and it's just nice to see him again. He was really just such a great dog. Anyway, I won't get off on that. Okay, so now comes the hard part, where I'm going to attempt filming inside the closet, and the hard part of it is it's just dark in there. So here we go. As we open the door, you can see I have placed this bookshelf type of furniture inside. And I did that because I have such limited space in here, and that fit in nice. And so I have office supplies in there, music CDs. Down at the bottom is where the camera lives when I'm not using it. And onto the right side of the top is where I store the iron when I'm not using it. That little sewing basket is from when I was a child. And the other little storage is buttons and things like that. And then there's a couple of projects, and the little pillow is going to be an upcoming project. So stay tuned for that. we'll just keep going up. That little hoop is a project I made like 40 years ago. I still have it. Oh gosh. Okay, so as we come up to the shelf, so I have tried to make use of every inch of space that I can. And I have these, they're like soft storage containers, and I got these on QVC, and I really like them because as opposed to the plastic containers I've used, I do like that I can unzip and easily get in there, and they stack really well and they look nice in the closet, and I can really easily see what I have in there. So that particular storage cube is full of my flannels. And I'll let you know that the little fabric, those are little dogs in raincoats. And I bought that to make a coat for my dog because he liked wearing stuff that I made for him. So I knitted and sewed for him, and that was supposed to be something for him. And he passed before I could make it for him. So anyway, that was his fabric. Sewing for dogs and knitting for dogs, let me just say as an aside, is a really cool thing. So on top of the storage cube, up there I have put quilt batting. So I've got all my quilt batting stacked up so I can see what I've got. Over to the left, let's see what I can show you here. There's other quilt batting. I've got that heavy duty Pellon craft views interface stuff, and then if you look over to the left, it's really dark, but those are old photos and artwork that I did when I was a fine art photographer, and for many years I worked as a professional photographer, and I did like headshots for actors and models and all sorts of things like that. With the I worked a lot with the performing arts and with theater people, so that was a great love for me, and I still enjoy it as a hobby. So I do still like to work with my model friends. So, okay, and lots of asides in here. Okay. I'm not really sure what happened. The camera just stopped recording. Anyway, I use painter's tape for a lot of things, and then this is the spray starch. I've recently started using spray starch in my quilt blocks, and I really, really do like that. Okay, let me back up for you. I never thought I would be filming the inside of a closet, but here we go. Okay, I'm just like, so those are pillows. That big white blob are pillows, and then back over into the corner, it's very hard to see, but over here, this is another one of those storage cubes, and it's packed full of yarn, and that is all of the like hand-dyed yarn and really extra nice yarn, and I'm selling all of that. So all of that will be in the Etsy shop, so be looking for that. I sold quite a bit over the winter and summer, and so I'm going to get ready and get it photographed and get the rest of it out there. So that is coming if that's of interest to you. As I come down from that shelf that I installed below the main shelf, I have a pegboard, and I store some different things on there, and it's also got like photos I've done and some little artwork that I thought was cute, and a beautiful photo of Dovima by Richard Avedon. Dovima was my favorite model in the world, and Avedon is a very famous fashion photographer who I just adore from the 50s. They worked together in the 50s. He continued doing photography into the 90s, I think, until he passed. But anyway, that's way off topic. Okay, continuing on with the tour. On the outside of the closet door, I've got a couple of projects I've worked on. I do like sewing bags, and this one I actually made using the French braids that I shared with you in that French braid tutorial. So that's where they wound up, and I do think that we could do a bag project on that a little bit later on. So stay tuned for that. because I love that bag. It is cute and it came out really, really nice. Over here, this is just like a bunch of storage. The miscellaneous projects kind of wind up over here. The Christmas tree, I just made that this summer. That was part of my Christmas in July, and I love this tree, and I did a video for you, so you may want to check that out. It's super fun. There's going to be another one I'm going to sew for you as we get closer to the holidays. And I'll show you how to do that. But those are miscellaneous bags and projects. You might recognize the Christmas tree napkins in there and just all kinds of stuff. And notebooks and things like that. And then over here is one of those little all-purpose carts. I mean, we just see those everywhere. Everybody's got one of those, I think. I do like it, and it does store quite a bit of stuff. So I've got different bits of fabric in there, and on top you can see there's a couple of quilt blocks. I will be doing something with the pinwheels, but that's not coming right away. Let me tell you, the pinwheels were super fun to make. I really, really had a good time with that. So yeah, that helps with the storage. There's my beautiful furniture. And we'll come up, and there's the shelf, and there's some of my projects. There we go. So I like making all kinds of things. Any kind of sewing and stitching I think is fun. So, okay, that's the room. That's the tour. That's the room. What did you think? Are you like surprised at what's going on in here? My hope is that it gives you some ideas, because I know that the other sewing setup video that I did, many people have written and expressed to me that it really helped them to get their space set up. It motivated them to find that little corner that they could use in their space, whether that is a home, an apartment, whatever it is. So I'm really happy that so many of you have found that helpful. And I hope this also helps. Just, not all of us are blessed with, gigantic homes and walls of windows, and that's okay. I think it's important to be grateful for the blessings that you do have. I am certainly grateful for mine every day. I love my house. I'm super grateful that I was basically led to find this place. It was a little bit of a miracle to find it and get into it, and every day I'm grateful for it. So that's what I have for you. I sure hope that you found it somewhat inspiring. And thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next video. And before you leave today, make sure that you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below about something that surprised you about how this room is set up, or maybe something that you also do. Okay, let us know. We would all love to hear. Thanks so much, and I'll see you in the next video.